first one unmuted.
Oh, you bastard.
I'm the last
First one.
one. It took me a minute
First
to
one
figure
again.
out how to unmute myself.
You doofuses.
Let's see how much of a dumpster fire we can turn this into.
Well, first off, speaking of dumpster fires, where is the human dumpster fire, Adam? Where is he at tonight?
He was at what's the name of that hamburger place that you get really, really fat from?
Culver's.
Culver's. There you go.
Yeah, Culver's, where the burgers are 90% butter.
Ooh.
I've never even heard of Culver's. What is that?
Not that good is what it is.
Yeah. So I guess he's on a family road trip, right? He's like, is he going to send us a Christmas card? Like, is he taking Christmas card photos and stuff? Like, I feel like we should make fun of Adam like you guys make fun of me when I go places with my family.
I think Adam's going cross country to get his transition surgery taken care of.
Oh, got you.
We're not supposed to tell anybody, but that's what he told me in private because me and him are like this. You're like best friends.
You know what's interesting is like, just randomly when I'm throughout the day, I'll just be driving and it's like, hey, you know what? I haven't talked to Bill in a while, so I'm gonna call my buddy Bill. I pick up the phone and I call Bill and we talk like half an hour. We're buddies, right? Sometimes we'll send each other selfies and stuff. And then, randomly Adam today, I called him. I was like, hey dude, what's going on, man? We were talking, we sent each other selfies, but I've never talked to Joe on the phone. None of us have ever talked to Joe on a phone.
No,
never. We don't even know if Joe really lives in the United States or in Canada. We don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's the United States. He just can't go anywhere because of those FBI regulations when you enter into the witness protection program.
Bump dumplings.
Bump dumplings. Yeah.
You know what they always say? The best place to hide is in plain sight.
In plain sight. Got you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. So what's up? We got some people to say hi to.
Yeah.
As always, say hi to our little buddy Randy and his big buddy Luke. Roof, 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 roof.
There you go. Little doggy action. That's the only sound pad I have for overtime on my board right here.
We're already out of it. Sound effects options.
How about the other?
Oh, man.
Yep.
The other Luke.
Say what about my boy?
The other Luke.
Where is the other Luke?
The other Luke is a terror right now, and he's in the other room. My daughter's having like a little birthday party with all of her friends in the other room, and the dog's in there entertaining them. Man, that guy, I do not get sleep with that dog. My wife and I take turns, but we get up 3 times a night. Usually 11, 1, and 4 is when we have to get up and take him to the bathroom.
Medication, you have to, eh?
Yeah. It's like having a kid again.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because like I can get him to calm down. He'll come in my office. I've been building a computer and I'm in here working on it, and he just chills in my office. But then my wife opens the door and he goes berserk when he sees her. And it's like, dude, he was so chill 5 minutes ago, and then he loses his mind when he sees my wife and is like, hey, I want to play, because she plays with him. I just say, sit down, stupid, don't move.
That's right. And it's always gonna probably be that way.
Yeah.
So you're gonna
I had second thoughts about doing this, but you know that picture that you sent where like you're holding the dog and he's like licking the side of your face?
Yeah.
So I was going to Photoshop my head and your dog's head doing that. Then I was like, people might take that out of context. That might come across as kind of gay, but
I think that stuff's hilarious. R134A hole. I have 1 dog.
Who let
That's
the
what you're
dogs
asking.
out?
You said how many dogs? I didn't know what that meant. So
what's up, man?
Man, so how's your guys' week?
Is that right?
I'll tell you, I'm beat from my
You're
week.
beat?
I'm beat from doing not much of anything, but
I gotta say, I want to talk about something today, and I kind of just, we're not going to name names. We're not going to name
I know what we're going to talk about. I'm so excited inside.
We're not going to name any incriminating information. Okay.
Hold on.
But I don't know if Bill. I'm assuming Bill's just sitting there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm assuming he's met. There we go. Okay. So we were listening to something before this. We were listening to something, and
hot dog.
I gotta say, I don't understand the sales process. Okay, I'm not a salesman. I'm a commercial air conditioning and refrigeration technician. Okay, don't get me wrong. There's an aspect to all of our jobs that includes sales, and I feel like there's a right and a wrong way to do sales. High pressure sales, manipulation sales, psychological mind fuck is bullshit. Okay. When you have to trick someone into signing a paper, you're wrong.
Yes, I agree.
Period. Plain and simple. You are absolutely wrong. And there's nothing right. And I don't know how you sleep at nighttime.
I think if you run an HVAC business and the majority of your training involves sales techniques and different ways to talk to customers and motivate them to replace things rather than replace, even though honestly the cost would be easier to, or the cost would be much better for them to just repair it.
Yeah.
And you hardly have any technical training, and your technicians know more about sales techniques than actual system operations. Yeah, I think you're a piece of garbage.
And wait, I just saw something in here. Someone who just said it right now. Joe Fiducioso. I don't know if I butchered your name. He just said that he had 12K in sales, no pressure on the last call. Okay, there's nothing wrong with making a sale. I'm going to preface this. There's nothing wrong with making a sale, but manipulation is what bothers me. Bill and I just listened to someone describe their sales process and how they trick the customer and lie to the customer. And they literally, in the conversation this person was having, literally said, I get psychological about it. And then proceeded to explain the sales process and how the person pretends that he's not a salesman and how he goes and pretends like he's making a phone call to his boss, letting the customer hear the phone call. Hey boss, I'm here. You know, and it's just dirty. It makes me, I don't know how that person sleeps at night. Now, again, I understand that sales is a part of people's jobs and you have to do them. Like, I get it, you know, it just bothers me just to think that I could just imagine that person trying to sell something to my grandma, and that's just messed up.
Yeah, it's sad that it's become such a huge part of the industry too. Like there's actual businesses devoted, and you guys all know what I'm talking about. Everybody in the chat, you guys know, you've seen them on social media, and I'm not calling anybody out, any specific person. I don't give a shit. But
yeah,
there's whole industries dedicated to, we'll teach you how to sell. And in my opinion, there's different ways. Like, we'll teach you how to sell is we will teach you, if you're an awkward person like myself, you're going to teach me how to properly communicate with the customer. And when the time comes for me to honestly sell them a new product, then I can properly communicate and not be so awkward. And I won't have to wear sunglasses when I talk to them. And then I can actually sell them. Or these other places are like, well, we're going to teach you how to manipulate the situation, pretend, make a fake phone call to your boss and manipulate the situation and pressure the customer into feeling like, well, I've already committed. I have to do it now. And plus he told me I'm going to die because there's surface rust on my heat exchanger or whatever. There's a big difference to me.
And to be fair, what we were talking about, I mean, I understand if a heat exchanger is cracked, the gas needs to be shut off. The system needs to be shut down for liability reasons. Okay. I get that. Again, even surface rust. Okay. Surface rust. Okay. There's something going on. Maybe they have humidity issues. Maybe it's something, but surface rust doesn't necessarily mean it's cracked. Doesn't necessarily mean it's carbon monoxide poisoning instantly, right? Even if a heat exchanger is cracked, it doesn't mean carbon monoxide poisoning, but there's liability there. So if you have a cracked heat exchanger or a hole, it needs to be shut down. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay. But surface rust on a heat exchanger. Okay. That's something you bring up to the customer. Okay. That's something you start, hey, we need to start discussing some things here because this is going to lead to something.
Yeah,
okay,
you want to start putting this in your budget.
That's a fair conversation. Now, I want to be fair, completely fair to both sides of this conversation. I am a commercial service technician. Okay. I'm a business owner too. On the commercial side, right? In what I do as a service technician, I don't sell. I literally, and I shouldn't say I don't sell. I don't have to try. I go onto a roof. Someone pays me to come out and service their equipment. I go onto a roof and I take note. I look at the big picture and I just go down and report the information to them and they choose what they want to fix. I'm not going there, and it works. You would never be able to pressure people on the commercial side. It doesn't work that way. You're dealing with corporate people and, there's no way. So to be fair, I don't understand the residential market. Okay. I know how to fix things. And that's something that I want to know too. What happened, in the beginning of COVID, when all this stuff went down, probably shouldn't have said that word on here, but in the beginning of that, you know, there was a credit crunch. I'm part of a lot of social groups, and a lot of the big time business owners and stuff, they were starting to panic because they were having a hard time finding credit. They couldn't find people that would finance because everybody was getting scared because we didn't know where the economy was going. And certain people that I follow on social media were panicking. You could see it in their comments. And what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And my question is, during that time, do you think any of those big sales companies would have survived off of repairs? Do you think they're even capable of repairing anything?
I don't think so. I've seen little social media posts where they've like, we had to call so-and-so in to repair something when they were doing one of these, what you want to call it without calling anybody out, ride arounds maybe.
Oh, dang. And you know what? It's too bad Adam's not here because he would have something to add to this about something that happened to him this week too. But
Well,
we're going to save that for when he comes back. That was a really good story.
That's because he sucks.
Yeah. You know, Adam, I was talking with Adam before the show about this, and he was saying that's why he likes the HVAC 2.0 method, is because you're just basically
asking questions.
The customer. Yeah, you're just asking
like, what do you want? What do you want? How comfortable do you want to be?
Yeah.
And then you just lay out some options, you know.
It's options, exactly.
Yeah, it's just options.
Michael,
I would really, really like, and I think we could be fair. I think we could be fair, but I think, and anybody that's watching this, put the word out there. I would totally be willing to have a genuine conversation with any one of these big time YouTube, Facebook famous business owners that want to sell. I want to talk to them. I want to hear their side of it. I want to know what they think. I'd be willing to do it.
I want to tell them what I think of them, honestly, and then see what their rebuttal is. Like, I just think you manipulate people, you know, like.
Yeah. Anyways,
that's fair. Mike Hausch says surviving off of repairs is more of a commercial thing, as they're higher money repairs overall then. Yeah, and that's fair. Okay, that's a good point to make. And again, you know, full disclosure, I don't understand the sales side, right? I'm not a sales technician. Nope, so maybe everything that I'm saying is just plain stupid. I don't know, maybe, you know, it just doesn't.
I've done residential home appliance repair, but never like the HVAC side of things. And even when I did home appliance repair, I was I had my own franchise for a while, a home appliance repair franchise, Mr. Appliance. And one of their things was pushing these maintenance programs, like a home warranty sort of thing. I wasn't very good at it. My fucking business went under, man. Like we went bankrupt because I'm not a good salesman, turns out, because I don't like to lie to people. And I'm very upfront about stuff. But like, yeah, your shit's broken, but I can fix it. That shit over there, I can't fix. So you should replace that. This one I can fix. So let's move on with that, you know.
Herman and Big Clive said a big thing. It's the same thing here. The big gas utility companies seem to be a little shisty around here. They have they hire their own, I guess, companies, and they go around, and it could be something so simple. I forget one house. It was a rental I went to, and they called me after because a utility company, I guess, a subcontractor they owned, said they got to replace their unit. I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, it shuts off, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I went there. What happened is it's a rental unit, and they closed off and made another entrance. So they closed a room in. So the hot water tank, the furnace was in there. They didn't have not enough primary air, blah, blah, blah. All I had to do is bring a pipe from outside the wall, bring it into the hot water tank. Bam. They were in there. You got to change the unit. You got to change this. You got to do that right away. No questions asked.
That just reminded me. I know what story you're talking about now, Chris, that Adam went through this week.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that would have been great.
So what Hamilton said, I'm not going to do this because it's not my style, but what do you think, like someone who has reach, how do you think I would piss people off if I made a video? I wouldn't. That's not my style. That's not my thing. I'm not making controversial crap, but I'm just saying in general, like that'd be interesting, you know?
Yeah. And you know what I think about it? So, and I'm speaking in generalities here, right? So generalities and stereotypes, that's my world. And as I look at this millennial group of kids coming up, you know, these kids who, how do I want to, I'm not going to be politically correct. They can't seem to fix shit. You know, they're not good with their hands. A majority of them, you know, and again, I'm speaking in generalities. So you have this whole group of kids coming up that really don't get their hands dirty. They don't know much about much, you know, and I think I think the sales aspect of it, these sales guys we're talking about, these snake oil salesmen, I think they're just going to get bigger. They're going to grow, because I kind of feel like this next generation aren't going to be able to call them on any of their BS. I don't know. What do you think? Or do you think maybe since they're going to be so computer savvy, maybe they will just, I don't know, Google shit, and they're like, hey, wait a minute, I Googled this and it says I could just run a pipe through the wall and do like Joe said.
They're going to download an app and learn how to fix it.
Weren't we those kids in the past? Yeah, true.
You know.
So do you think it's going to get worse or better? This whole sales swing, this influx.
I think it's going to get worse. I think it's going to get worse because as these companies. So if you guys haven't noticed, in the last 20 years, these companies have gotten bigger and bigger. These sales companies, and right now, if you don't already know, private equity companies are coming in and buying up all these residential companies. They're even buying commercial. Yeah, and private equity is just consumers that put their money into a pool and buy it, right? So we're just doing it for profit. So when you get private equity buying refrigeration and air conditioning companies and then residential air conditioning companies, they're going there just to corner the market so that way they can increase their sales and increase revenues. And again, I'm a business owner. I'm here to make a profit. I am. I have to make a profit to stay alive. So I understand people have to make money. It's just the way some people are going about it. I've had my own arguments with some people, especially at the beginning of the whole craziness that we just went through with the pandemic. I had some arguments with people because, and I tried to back off because on the internet, I don't know, whatever, but there was some really large West Coast companies. And one of them was he posted a video because he was happy that one of his, the main CEO of the entire business, he owns multiple branches of his business, but one of his branches was on the news in their area, and they were touting how they sell these devices that clean the air, and it was a lot of, they didn't say anything illegal, but it was just skating the line at the beginning of the pandemic when everybody was nervous and anxious. And I called them out. I was like, hey, that is messed up. And then we had this back and forth, and I was like, look, you don't know if this does any of that stuff. You don't know a single thing about what it's doing. And hold on just a second. I'm gonna let someone in right now. Yo, what up?
Hey,
look, it's Mr. Fancy Frozen Screen.
Yeah, Mr. Fancy's in here right now. What are you doing?
From his Wi-Fi potato.
Who's you coming in here to say something?
I was just gonna say, I'm actually on a road trip to one. I'm on my way to a sales convention right now.
Oh, you're going to the big one in Vegas, huh?
Yeah.
You're going to the big sales convention this weekend in Vegas?
You're going to learn how to rip off old ladies and tell them they're surface rust on their heat exchangers.
Tell them
they're seconds away from dying.
Yeah. Are you wanting to tell stories right now, or did you just come on to make a joke?
No, he wants to say something.
No, I thought I would be funny, but it didn't land very well.
It was pretty funny.
Doesn't
pretty funny.
Work well with
yeah, it came out pretty awkward.
So, all right, my internet sucks.
Right.
I got to go.
All right, we'll see you later. All right. So, again, there's a lot of different people out there, and we'll change the subject and get to normal stuff. But that just irks me when these companies are out there selling death to old ladies. I mean, when you have to go to a sales training that teaches you how to tell people they're going to die if they don't do what you're going to sell them.
No, I know. That's
like I said earlier, if your technicians go to more sales training than actual technical training, you might have you might be a one of these deceptive companies, if you will.
That's true. It's true. But hey, anyways, let's get off the pin or finger pointing at these people and move on to something cool.
Let's get that fingers out of our butts and get to some other better news.
Move on. So who has a better topic to talk about? Joe gets to pick it.
I got that VFD issue I was talking to Joe about earlier this week.
No, we're gonna make Joe uncomfortable, and we're gonna make everybody out there uncomfortable, because until Joe starts really talking,
if you guys ever notice, like when Joe gets really uncomfortable, his nipples get hard. Watch.
That's where
that's my nose. I'm picking my nose. I picked the wrong person.
I passed because you screwed up. So I get a pass.
I don't know how to work this stupid
what
thing.
What is this? Where's Adam?
Hold on.
I don't know how to work this stuff. I was picking my nose. There we go.
Label was off the motor. How can I find it? What capacitor we need? Oh, I hate when that happens. But there is actually an equation. Go
Hey,
ahead.
Joe, is that your nephew's shirt?
No, it's mine. I'm just getting bigger, dude. What can I say? Let me help this guy. Hold on. I want to see what this guy's
John Cena over here.
So Caden says that I was talking about air cleaners on Monday. And Caden, I don't remember what I said about air cleaners, but I can probably guess what I said is that I don't understand them. And I don't completely understand what they do. So therefore, I don't feel qualified to sell people on them. Okay. But I do. It's not that. And I'll be honest too. I've sold air cleaners before. But if any of you guys have heard the story about the 30-something air cleaners that I sold to one client, I literally tried to talk them out of it because I didn't believe in the science. And I tried to get them to let me install economizers in what I believe in and what I know works. Now, I may be ignorant in the fact because I don't understand the science behind air cleaners, right? And Clive's tried to explain about ionizers and different things like that. But I still, it's one of those things that I can't see, and so it's hard for me to understand how it works. So I'm not going to go much further trying to push that crap.
That's a good point, Rory.
What did Rory say? I didn't see it.
That's
Joe got out of
speaking again. Well, that's typical.
Being a nice guy, Rory. See, he knows.
Just being polite.
I was trying to answer the guy who was asking a question. The fellow
that's
tech
cool
in the
hat,
chat.
Joe.
He was asking a question, so I'm answering him.
Hey, Joe, when are you going to send me one of those hats? That's actually a cool hat. I'm not even being sarcastic.
Oh, cool. Well, when you're cool enough to wear one, I'll get you one.
Shit.
Well, actually, you're not wearing the HVAC. Are you wearing the HVAC Overtime? That's the only hat that trumps this hat.
That's the only hat
I would wear an HVAC Overtime hat, but it's white underneath. Yeah, so I don't.
Oh,
yeah. It's all dirty.
Let's check out.
Well, are we showing off hats now? Blam.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Look at this. This is
nuts. There you go. But look at my fingerprints are making it dirty.
Oh, you don't wear it at work. You don't wear those hats at work.
Can't see.
They're too good to wear.
It's almost like you got a dome light on.
Bill, how did you get a green one? I have a white one.
Hey, enough questions.
I know people. I know people in the industry.
Oh man. So this week for me was just a basic week. It was kind of slow. I don't know about you guys. This is something interesting. This is throwing me off. So I got to take that off. This is something interesting. Yeah.
How California people do that? They got the brim flipped up like that, dude. I can't do it.
Oh, I hate that, dude. That's so
it hurts. Weird. It hurts my head.
Yeah.
For me,
look, we got John McMasters in the chat tonight. What's up, Mickey Mac?
Mickey Mac. That's right. Leroy, wash your freaking hands, right?
Hey, Jesus Tilapia's here tonight. Who else we got? Weaselbox. I don't know that guy. Chipmunk.
It's white for an autograph. Yeah, that's.
It's
maybe
white.
Someone else will autograph it. I don't autograph it.
Yeah, I'll autograph it.
It's kind of strange to me.
Hey, Chris, do you ever hear about because you're in the industry more than any of us, smoke sensors in the floor?
No.
Somebody.
So what's context? Are we talking like in a hospital or something?
Restaurant.
Like that?
I believe a restaurant. It could be a hospital. Good point. It could be a hospital.
No, I could think more on an institutional level. Yeah. Schools and hospitals. I could think. I mean, smoke sensors. You can put them in a lot of different places, but
why the floor?
But doesn't smoke settle above the floor? So
good point.
Why the floor?
I don't know. I believe someone mentioned that to me.
Doesn't heat rise?
Well, I don't know if heat rises is the right term, isn't it? That yeah, I've been corrected on that one. It does.
Smoke will go to the top because I remember when I was a kid, they always told you to get down on the ground and crawl to the nearest because the smoke will rise to the top.
Yeah, I don't know. So when you let me ask you guys something. So during the week, do you guys get, and I'd be curious about the people in the chat too. When I have a normal week, if I have personal things to do during the week, it stresses me out. So like this week I had a dentist appointment one day, and this is all after work stuff, but I always have to get off early because I'm a super early person. I literally, my dentist made a joke. They're like, you're always here an hour early. And it's like, yeah, I always get places an hour early and then sit and wait because I can't handle being late. But when I have things planned during the week, I get stressed out. Like I like my normal work week where I just get to go to work and do my thing. And then today I had to get home for a conference call. Wednesday I had a dentist appointment, and it just stresses me out. Like I hate doing anything other than my normal routine, which is like normal work stuff.
I agree, Chris. I just wanted to get back to this. Just 1 second. One guy saying, HVAC Atlian. Yeah, I had some on Liebert units for computer rooms. Is that the smoke sensor? A lot of guys are saying could be another sensor, but nobody says. I wonder if it's true because I'm pretty sure the gentleman that told me is like, oh yeah, they had sprinklers come up, like the sprinklers came and everything. They had no clue. Nobody told them. They were drilling or something, and bam, done.
Now, I know in computer rooms they do all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I've done some hospital work in the past, and they would it almost looks like heat trace, but it's not. But they would have these little ropes ran around the building, and they're water sensors, and they would literally run them around the Liebert units and stuff. So that way, because everything was water cooled, so that way, if there was ever a leak, if any water got on the floor, it would trip those sensors and set off, you know, all the alarms to let them know there's water on the floor in the server room. But I mean, they have all kinds of crazy stuff like that in hospitals, you know, occupancy sensors, smoke sensors, they're all over the place. And they're always doing
Lieberts and smoke. One time, me and another guy, we installed just like a drain pan in a Liebert unit. And it's one of these heated drain pans. And it's kind of hard to describe, but the way the drain pan came, it came with a lid on top, a metal lid, you know, everything's already encased, you know, heaters inside and everything. You just slap it in, bolt it down, plug it in sort of deal, right? So we did that, bolted in, you hook the drain up to the side of the pan, bolted it down, plugged it in. And when we turned it on, we couldn't tell right away because everything's inside and goes up into the vents, of course, and then out to the server room. Now, keep in mind, these server rooms have very, very expensive fire suppression systems. I forget the kind of gas that they use. But they use some sort of gas and it'll kill you. So I'm standing there with my hand at the disconnect, and the other guy is like yelling at me to turn this thing off. And I don't know why, because I'm looking the other way. And I was like, okay, I'll turn it off. Then I turn around, and I see all the smoke is coming out of the vents.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out inside that drain pan, if you take the lid apart and disassemble everything, there's styrofoam underneath the element.
I
was like, well, why would they
melt it?
Yeah, why would they send us this whole thing pre-assembled, ready to go, and then put styrofoam on the inside? Like, we had to unbolt everything, take the whole thing apart to get to the styrofoam. I'm like, it's the stupidest thing ever.
Everybody's saying Halon.
That sounds right, yeah.
Did you see where this guy, HVAC
Child song?
said that they were probably downflow discharge units, and it was a supply smoke detector? The floor had supply grills. That makes sense, because on some of the server room ones, they'll pressurize the floor and then come up through the servers with the air. So the air will blow down, pressurize, and come up.
That's the only way that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. You know, the cool thing, I mean, it is kind of neat that we have the ability to come on here like we are right now and literally just talk to each other and question things. And then people in the chat can, you know, it's kind of cool that we have this community.
It's nice to learn.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You know, it helps learning, staying humble.
Staying humble, and pot gummies, they really help with learning.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that. Unfortunately.
I didn't take one today because I have to go pick up my daughter.
Be cooler if you did.
Pick her up after this.
What was I gonna say, Bill? That unit, what was up with that old thing you posted about in the group?
Oh, that Mammoth?
Yeah, what is that?
Stupid Mammoth unit? I've never heard of this brand before, but
I've heard of it.
Have you? Is it? Who makes it? It can't just be like.
I don't know who makes it, but they make giant boxcar units for the roof and stuff. The Mammoth units.
Yeah. So this thing's 41 years old. It's one of those old ass systems that's been bastardized. It's got a lot of different issues. It's tripping off on low oil pressure, but they're being replaced in 10 weeks. So we're kind of just getting them to just keep going as best we can for now, without sinking a whole bunch of money into repairing them, because they're being replaced in 10 weeks. We're just waiting on the equipment to arrive.
What are they doing? Are they like makeup airs, or are they actual full on?
Yeah, they're tempered makeup airs. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're stupid. They're old and stupid. I hate them. No, I don't really hate them. They're just
my nose itches. Jesus is giving me a hard time because I got coke nose today, pretty bad.
Yeah, I was telling him it's never happened on a Friday. So
and I don't even have mustache hairs tickling my nose anymore, so there's nothing to hide it from anymore.
I was thinking about growing my mustache out now that you mention it.
Oh, dude, when I shaved my beard off, I left my stash, and my wife and my kids freaked.
That was awesome.
I left it there for a couple hours.
Awesome.
Random thought of the day.
That was awesome. You don't get answers on the internet by posting a question. You get answers by posting the wrong answer on the internet.
Hey, that's the truth.
You also get lit up. You also get lit up by everybody. Like I made this little video. Spoiler: I made a little video this week about my run-in with a chiller. Now, in my video, I must say this 3 or 4 times. I'm not an expert at chillers. I don't know much about them at this point in my career, but I feel like this video was a good look at maybe like the inside of a guy learning it, I guess. I'm just going through learning it, trying to explaining what I know about it, saying what I don't know about it, asking the audience for help, asking the audience like, hey, you know better than me? Put it in the chat, And it's not one of those situations where me not knowing is really affecting the system operation. I mean, essentially, because we got other guys that are going to fix it if I break it, sort of deal. But I think it's an almost too humbling video. I'm going to put it out and see how badly I got tore up.
John is asking what kind. I think you got to spoil that to him because he is.
F you, John.
Why?
I don't know. I just felt
you guys
like
are
saying
competitors now, or what?
No. Me and John actually worked for the same company.
Oh.
Yeah.
What was wrong with the chiller? Can I say anything?
What's wrong with it?
What was wrong with it? Was there anything wrong with it?
Yeah. It's got an intermittent issue where it'll now. I talked to John about this chiller before about a different issue, but now it just recently started doing this. It's going off on evap. What is it? Evap water freeze alarm. So as far as I can tell, that the looking at the manual, and I'm probably re-quoting this wrong, but looking at the manual, the best I can make of it is that the alarm, which is set for I think 38 degrees, the water cutoff set point is 44 degrees. So somehow the water in the heat exchanger is hitting 38 degrees. Now, I have some theories that there could be scale buildup in the heat exchanger itself that's slowing down the water, maybe insulating that heat exchanger, because I don't really know where the sensor is.
Is there
buried.
like a delta that has to maintain?
Yes. What that is,
let me ask you this.
know.
I'm ignorant to this. Are you running straight water?
Glycol solution. It's a 40-ish mix, 45 mix.
Really? And they still have it set at 38 degrees on that?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense because you're comfort cooling. You're not bringing it any lower, so 38 degree. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not going to freeze till it's, I think, the -10 with the 50-50 mix. So it's not at risk of actually freezing, but and it's got water flow alarms and water flow sensors on it. So I know it's not the water actually slowing down, or as far as I can tell anyway, because we just had that issue. We solved the issue of low water. And now we got this. So I don't know. Yeah,
House just saying, I mean, and again, we're just using logic here. House is saying low on charge. It's no different than air. Just water is the medium.
Yeah,
and I guess
that was one of the things we also considered.
Yep. And that's something to think about. When we start getting, like, I've never worked on a chiller, right? And it could be intimidating. If I walked up to one, I'd be like, but really, when you step back and kind of think about it and like break it down, okay, it's just like an air conditioner, but it's just using water. Okay, so water is what we're cooling now. And it kind of gives you, if you can kind of calm down and think about it, I'm sure you kind of rationalize things like that a little bit, Bill, right? Walking into some of this big fancy stuff.
It's true.
Kind of, yeah.
Going back to the glycol, Jason mentioned it as well. I wonder why they have such a high mixture, like why they need such like.
It's crazy. I hear there's some guys who will they'll take a system like this and they'll drain it and they'll fill it 100% with glycol. The whole system just filled with glycol.
I would feel like you would hurt your pump.
That's what I was thinking too. Like I know you would hurt the pump, and plus, like I've read that anything over, don't quote me on this, guys, but anything over like 50 or 60% mix, you're not getting any better burst protection.
Gotcha.
It's.
Now, to be fair, too, I don't know completely what they're doing, but majority of the time at my local supply houses, when you buy glycol, it is not straight glycol. It's already diluted to a certain extent. Mixed. Yeah, it's already mixed. You can buy straight glycol, but a lot of the times it's already diluted down to like 40 or 60% or whatever it is. And then you'll dilute it even more if you need to.
For snowball system, we mix them ourselves, like the ratio. John is saying 30% max, like you were saying, Chris. So he was saying max UCs usually. But and then I don't know.
Like what House says, there are intricacies to things, but it can often be broken into basics. And he's right. Yeah.
That's kind of where I was trying to go earlier. But you have to be careful and know your limits too. You have to know when to call it and say, all right, this is over my head. I would love to play with it for hours, but I can't just.
Yeah, I would love to play with it when there's a guy who knows what he's doing, like right next to
Yes.
me, so I can say, "Can I do this without destroying it?" Because
Yes.
I mean, like, take for example this chiller that I'm not an expert at. So this chiller, it operates on the basic, the fundamentals of thermodynamics, right? But the sequence of operation, the controls, the computer program that it uses, like that's not all rules of thumb. Like that's manufacturer specific. The way they have the compressor staging, all that stuff is figured in by genius engineers. So that's the stuff where it gets a little in depth.
Clive says it was working until you touched it.
It was.
Oh my gosh, today I got to tell you guys a story. So I went out to a service call. Manager called me and he says, "Hey, my ice machine's making a screaming noise," and it's a Hoshizaki ice machine. So in my head, it's probably got a bad water pump. That happens. Just not water pump. They scream. The bearings go bad in them. So picked up a ridiculously expensive water pump because Hoshizaki is so proud. They know their shit don't stink. And anyways, we drove out there to the customer, and I had my apprentice with me, and we're going to change the water pump. So I, before I turned off the machine, I let my apprentice hear, because he got there a few minutes after me. I let him hear the water pump. It's clearly bad. It's got bad bearings. So we're going to go ahead and change it. We brought one with us. So we walk over to the breaker panel, and I turn off the breaker, and I noticed something. When I turned off the breaker tripped. It was weird. I turned it off, and then it popped into the middle position. And I'm like, what the hell? Okay, whatever. So we did our thing, and then I went to go turn it on, and the breaker tripped instantly. And I'm like, okay. So I go over to the machine, and the machine was off. Okay. So I go back to the breaker, and it trips. And I'm like, there's no load on it. There's nothing. I know for a fact there's nothing else connected to it. So in my head, we have a bad breaker. Okay. Because when you turn it on, boom, it trips and it won't go on. So I go after, and again, I know there's nothing else connected to it. So I'm completely safe. I turn it on and off a few times, and finally it stays on. Okay. Anybody out there, you don't want to reset breakers. If it's tripping for a reason. Okay. So in this situation, I know we have a bad breaker, but I got it to come back on, and I go and grab the manager, and I said, "Hey, you guys have a bad circuit breaker." And he goes, and he looks at me with this, and I've dealt with this manager before. He looks at me with a perplexed look, and he goes, "What do you mean the breaker's bad?" And I go, "The breaker's bad." I go, "Let me show you. Your machine is off. There's no load on that breaker right now. It's off at the power switch. Let's go over to the breaker and turn it on." Turns it on, boom, it trips. And he goes, "Well, how do you know it's bad?" And I go, "There's nothing connected to it, and it's tripping. The breaker's bad, dude." "Well, it doesn't make sense to me." And I go, "Well, I know that means it's bad, but I don't understand it." And he's looking at me with a side eye, and I could tell he's rolling his eyes, and I want to smack the dude upside the head. I go, "Dude, I don't change breakers. This doesn't benefit me at all. I'm telling you, you have a bad breaker." So that doesn't make sense to me, and it's like,
I hate that, dude.
I said, "All right, here's the deal. I got the breaker to reset. Mark my words. If you call me this weekend for your ice machine, I'm not coming out."
Right. Until you,
plain and simple. Get the electrician to change the breaker.
Clive says it could be a short in the wiring. What about the wiring going from the breaker to the unit, like the whip maybe, or
it could be, but it's not. But yes, Clive is right. There's always the potential. Sure. I know because this place has history, and I've seen this happen there before. And to be fair, I've tried to tell them to change this breaker before too. Okay, so there's history with it, but it's just annoys the hell out of me. So yes, Clive is right. The next procedures would have been to pull the load wires off the breaker, then try to energize it and see what happens. I know from the past I've done that before, that the breaker is bad, but still it just frustrates me, and the customer's just like, "Well, I don't understand." And I'm
I don't know which shoe goes on which foot.
Smack the dude upside the head.
Real quick, not to I don't want to get too in depth into this, but Easy Heat and Cooling was talking about absorbers. I'm pretty sure he's talking about absorption chillers. Have you guys ever looked into absorption chillers?
No, I've heard someone try to explain them to me.
They're
before,
the wildest thing to me.
Yeah,
it's the wildest thing. Like, there's no compressor. There's not a compressor in an absorption chiller. It's crazy. All like, I can do it no justice to explain it. But there's a YouTube channel, The Engineering Mindset. He's got a fantastic video that explains absorption chillers with all sorts of pictures and diagrams and words and stuff. And
words. It's got words.
He's got words. Word up,
He does actually some really good videos.
He does some great videos.
I watched a video after the Texas power outage. He explained why and what happened when that happened. Like what
lithium
last year?
bromide, salt, heat.
And it's really interesting listening to him. That engineering mindset channel is awesome for sure.
Yeah, these absorption chillers, I can't even, like, can you imagine being the guy who like thought of this? Like, what if I take this and lithium bromide, then I do this and I heat it up and then it evaporates, then it goes up, and then it does all this other shit. I don't know. It's wild. It's a wild concept to me.
Yeah. Definitely interesting. You know what else I get too, and a lot of the people, and I feel like we have a few people from European countries watching this right now. I know Clive's over there, but it's also interesting to see the amount of comments that I get from people from the European countries that are just mortified by what a package unit's wiring looks like on the inside. They lose their minds because that's not how things are done over there. I don't know if it is up by you, Joe, but like, do your package units, do they just run wires like through like fake channels and different things like that aren't legit?
Like through the roof or through?
No, in a package unit. So like in a carrier package unit, like the wiring is just a mess.
Like inside the actual unit?
Yeah, inside the unit.
No, it's not bad. No, I can't complain. No.
I see. I feel like you have the same stuff as us up there. I feel like your stuff is set up the same.
From what I see. Oh yeah, go ahead. What do you see? Tell me what you see. Maybe I could relate.
No. I'm just saying in general. I get comments all the time from people in the European countries just criticizing the wiring in our package units and in our equipment. Like they're just dumbfounded.
Really? And there's what they get there is a little different.
From what they're telling me, their stuff is all fancy and like perfectly ran and. You know,
I wouldn't know.
I just say it's all about, consumerism. It's all about us wanting things cheaper and quicker, faster and quicker. And, we demand, we as the consumers are the ones responsible for the cheap equipment out there. And the fact that things don't last anymore. It's us. It's us bitching about the prices, constantly wanting it cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Right.
And when that happens, say you have the best manufacturer in the world, but then if he has all this competition that's cheaper than him, eventually that amazing manufacturer is going to have to dumb down his quality to keep up with the other guys. So that way he can compete with their pricing. And eventually it just drives everybody down, Yeah,
I agree. I'm just reading something here.
See, Jessica's in the chat there. So
all the time
speaking of Jessica there, I was listening to HVAC School podcast in a while back. I don't know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I can't remember exactly, but Brian Orr did a podcast about working with difficult people. And,
I didn't listen to that one.
It's a real good episode. It really is. It's got a lot of good leadership points in there. I remember Jessica called in and spoke about it. But yeah, it's just filled with good information. Like I actually took notes on this one. Like there was a couple things I wrote down. My biggest key takeaway in leadership is you have to be able, as a leader, you have to be able to tell people things in the words that they need to hear, not in the words that you want to say it. I might not be repeating that exactly the way Brian said it, but I was like, that does make sense. Some people tend to sugarcoat things. I used to do that quite a bit, and I could never get my point across. And I was always confused about that.
So almost
now I just say, excuse me, sir, you are a dumb shit, and you need to stop being a dumb shit so we can have a better working relationship.
There's a lot of dumb shits out there.
There's a lot of dumb shits.
There really, really is. This whole place is just full of them.
And they're fertile. They're very fertile.
Oh, yeah.
They're making more dumb
You can't tell someone they can't reproduce. So.
No, but we should. There should be a test for it.
Oh, there should be a test.
There should be a test for it. There's a test for everything else in this world.
There definitely should be a test.
You can't get a driver's license. You can't buy a house. You can't buy a gun. You can't do lots of stuff without tests. But they're like, yeah, have all the babies we want. We got lots of money as a government. We'll support them.
We'll support you all.
No problem. We'll support all 9 of your dumb shit kids.
What's your dumb shit guy? Thank God I'm changing the subject after that comment.
Kids.
Did you guys see that post about trucks? I know you probably seen them around, people posting about their trucks having messes in trucks.
You're not talking about those stupid ones where they lift the front and lower the back, right?
No, not a California truck. I'm talking
about not a California thing, bro. That is not a California either lowers them or lifts them evenly. We do not squat our trucks in California.
Oh, is that what they're called?
Squatting. Yes, squatters.
No, I'm just talking about work trucks in the back, like how messy they are and whatnot. It was in the group, and I just want to see what you guys say about it.
Okay, so a messy work truck is a disorganized space, but at the same time, when I am busy and it's super, super crazy outside, I don't want to clean my van. My van inevitably ends up to be a giant mess. Now, what are the downsides to that? The downsides is that my parts get truck raped. They literally just get smashed with stuff. They
Yeah.
get, and I end up overstocking my truck because I can't find something. So I go to the supply house. And then when I clean my truck, I have 5 of them,
Yeah.
it's a delicate balance because I can't keep my truck clean all the time. Now it's clean right now somewhat because I'm not super busy, but I do agree that if your truck is disgusting, I mean, if you have rotten food in your truck, there's something wrong with you. Okay.
Yeah,
but
see, I look at it as just inefficient.
it is inefficient, but at the same time, I mean, you have to be, if you're being slammed and you just can't keep up with it, sometimes life happens.
I agree.
Now, we've always had a discussion with our employees. Look, if you open your van door and shit falls out, that looks bad.
That's right.
That looks bad. Okay. So, like one of our pet peeves is having stuff on your dash. I hate stuff on the dash. And that trait was given to me by my dad. My dad used to criticize me because I would drive around with a bunch of books on my dash and he'd be like, get the crap off your dash and put it in a box somewhere,
It bothers me because there's when I have shit on my dash, just even a few papers like invoices will be up in the dash. It'll like reflect into the windshield. So you get that like
your eyes, the white sheets,
or it's just distracting, and I'm like, I don't know, OCD or something.
So I guess we stand on the same. There's a fine line because I'm serious. I worked with somebody that honestly, we went to customers' houses in the past, and I didn't want to open the doors on the driveway or in the customer because it was so embarrassing.
Yeah,
I've worked with guys where
customer sees your truck is going like, what the hell? What happened here? It just doesn't look good.
It looks like this guy, it looked like his truck was in a rollover accident like moments before he got to the job site. And then you open up the back doors. I'm like, you got shelves, dude. Like nothing's on the shelves. Everything's in the center of the truck.
Yeah,
that's
so
too much.
Old Handy Luke said he works with a guy who throws bad capacitors with the good ones. That has happened to me accidentally because my truck was a mess. Because sometimes, I typically throw my parts away on the job site. Okay. But every once in a while, there's weird situations. The dumpster's locked. I'm walking out the door. I just throw it in my van and I'll throw it away at the shop. Right. Every once in a blue moon, I'll go to grab a part and I'll grab it out of my van. I'll get up on the roof. I'll go to put it in and it's a used part. And I'm like, fuck, I accidentally put it in with my good stuff. And it is a massive inconvenience for me. So, the more we prepare and clean and organize, the better. And look at this. Look at who's here.
What do we have here now?
It's Yamo.
Speaking of dirty Mexicans, look who showed up.
What's up, my friend? Bill always has to cross the line.
I know, right?
Yamo is like one of my bestest friends, even though we don't talk as much as we used to. But, quick little fact, me and Yamo used to do a podcast where Yamo would help me practice my Spanish, but I haven't had much time to do that lately. But every day I do think about you, Yamo.
Yeah, everything. I think about you too because your Spanish sucks.
You remember how big his penis is, and it makes you happy, and you yearn for it.
I'm not gay like you.
And
Chris.
how motivating is that?
There's nothing wrong with being gay. We just know that you like his penis. That's all.
I'm gonna work really hard now, Yamo, because my Spanish sucks. You depress me. You make me depressed.
Yeah.
Practice with your wife.
You make me sad inside.
To be fair, we talked to him in private chat, so it's okay.
What's we got dogs here.
Oh, hey!
It's the dog show now. I should go get my dog.
Guys. Yeah, the dog show. You should bring yours. Like, come on, we're gonna HVAC dog show. Let's go.
No, it is not an HVAC
so
dog show. I draw the line at the HVAC dog show.
Hey,
Hey, are those the dogs that their eyeballs fall out when they fart?
No.
Or one eye's looking at you, one looking for you.
Yeah, they can like lick their own eyeballs.
Yeah.
They're cute, Yamo. They're cute.
Yes. Yes. So Yamo, what do you think about a messy vehicle?
Thanks, Susie.
Like, do you
You're
think,
right.
I mean, sometimes it just has to happen, because you're so busy you can't clean it? Or do you think a vehicle should always be cleaned?
I think a vehicle should always be clean, but sometimes we don't have enough time to clean it, or sometimes we don't have the energy to do it. I personally keep the outside of my work truck clean, but the inside is another story.
So I'm the opposite. The outside of my work vehicle is often dirty. And it's simply because I just don't have time. Like I am so busy with everything. I'll clean the inside of my vehicle much more than I'll clean the outside. When I clean the outside, it takes me forever. What'd you say, Bill?
I was just telling Clive, I accept your challenge.
What did you say? I didn't hear you.
I think you have to squirt an air compressor up their ass to make their eyes pop out.
Makes sense.
I'm gonna go to the dog pound tomorrow and get one of them dogs there. They're just handing out for free.
You're gonna make an experiment. They say right now that like during COVID, there was a shortage of dogs. Like every pound and animal shelter was basically out of dogs because everybody was adopting them. And then now they're starting to fill back up because everybody's back to work and everybody's back to work.
Like, I don't want this. I don't want this piece of crap dog.
Yep.
I give it back to the kill shelter.
It's kind of sad.
It is.
It is sad.
I want a dog, but I need to. The only dog I could ever convince my wife to let us have would be a dog that doesn't shed a lot and it's tiny and it never poops or pees and it only barks like once a week.
Never poops or pees. That's impossible, even for a human.
I haven't pooped in like 4 days, so
that's a good point there. Sorry, guys.
You definitely need a plunger.
Troy, change your chat to live chat. It helps.
Yeah, what's happening?
Oh, you just not seeing Hammy's or somebody's messages, and sometimes that happens if you're not in live chat.
There's people though that have me blocked that I can't see their chats whatsoever for some reason. It's kind of strange.
It's good to see Handy here. Let me just see what he's saying here. My service fan always is filthy inside, organized to the T. A diagnosed service truck can quickly be death of you.
HVAC
disorganized. Sorry, I don't know what I'm reading. Hooked up phonics here.
HVAC Adeline.
I agree.
Wants to hear about my VFD story, Joe.
Say
yes.
Share it.
Yeah. So, real quick, there's a train unit. I don't have much detail on this because I wasn't the actual technician that was there. So the information is fed to me secondhand because they called me and kind of wanted my opinion on things. But it's a train makeup air unit of some sort, and it's a VFD driven blower. And what is happening is the blower motor is just overheating. The blower motor's already been replaced by train. This is it's like a year old. And they already had a train tech come out. He said the blower motor is bad, so he replaced it, and it's still doing the same thing. So one of the guys I know went out there, and on this VFD, when it's ramped up to 100%, the voltage, he's measuring voltage at the motor. And again, I don't know if this is if you can accurately do this, but with the VFD at 100%, he's only measuring 380 volts, and this is a 480 or 460 motor. And he's only measuring 380 volts. The motor is rated at 6.2 amps at 460, and he's measuring, I think, like 7.2 amps at that point at 100. And then he'll lower it, or excuse me, at 100, he's measuring like just a hair over the rated load amps. So it's, I don't know, 6.8 or whatever. And as it lowers, the amperage goes up a little bit. But it doesn't, like the numbers he was telling me, and again, I don't know how accurate these are because I wasn't there, but the numbers he's telling me, like, it's not making any sense. Like the amp draw isn't changing as much as I think it would, which I'll give you guys a question here in a second about that. But the first question is, on a VFD, when it's at 100%, you should be seeing full voltage at that motor, correct?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And then second, so if you do have a VFD, and everybody knows, as your voltage gets lower, your amperage increases, right? So if you have a VFD and you're lowering your voltage, the amperage is going up. But in your motor's obviously slowing down, so it's doing less work, but it still is doing some work. So, I mean, your amperage should reflect as the voltage goes down, right? There should be no...
Yeah, I don't know, man, because VFDs are tricky.
They're magic to me.
Yeah, it's very interesting how they work. And I know that oftentimes you have to have certain meters that are capable.
I guess Hausch is talking about, I don't know about the voltage. It's more about the hertz, right? It's like, yeah, that could be true. Again, I don't know much about
I'm not an expert. My assumption is that it's only supposed to change the frequency, the hertz, and not necessarily the voltage. But I actually did a Google search on it because I was curious about that. And it actually says that it does vary the voltage and the frequency. But But I didn't go in depth into it. So,
but at 100% though, I would assume that VFD would just open the floodgates and be like, here you go, man.
not necessarily.
Full
And this is
voltage.
why, because I know that you can program a VFD to make the 100% different speeds.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like,
So because you can
100%
you can kind of like you can over program, because VFDs have protections built into them too, so you don't over amp the drive, and you can change settings in there to get more out of a motor than what you already saw as what you thought was 100%.
See, how is Clive drunk and he's still saying things like the VFD is regenerating a waveform from rectified DC? I don't even know what that means. I'm sober.
Yeah, and you do need, and that's what Clive's saying. You need a good, true RMS meter to measure it. You do. And I remember the first time I put my meter on there, and I was like, "Why isn't it reading? You know, it doesn't make sense." And then it was explained to me. Oh yeah, no.
Hey, Weaver, I mean, these newer VFDs can be programmed for all sorts of applications. Get a true RMS meter and call the factory to walk you through the program. I agree. There was I don't know if you guys remember that VFD that was set up. Remember, I was trying to get 3 phases of the house. Anyways, they had a VFD on a system, and the max hertz, max amps was the cutout amps pretty much, and my VFD failed. And then I was calling the factory, and I'm like, what can we do? And they're like, we can't fit another one in that box. So basically, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
What the hell? What? This is a new uni here, guys.
I've had a few VFDs. I have one sitting back there and one in my garage that I've wanted to experiment with, but I just haven't had the time. But they're still working VFDs. And it's like, oh man, I want to play with those things, because you can do all kinds of cool stuff when you get into the programming. You can turn single phase into 3-phase. You can, I mean, depending on how you program the VFDs. So you can do all kinds of cool stuff with that.
Is that your dad yelling at you, Yamo?
Yeah, it's my brother. He's talking to the dogs. So I had to go to my room.
He's talking to the dogs. So even the dogs speak Spanish in Mexico?
Books? Yeah.
What?
All right. Well, I think it's time we wrap this up, guys.
It's been a good chat. It's been awesome. Like every
time.
Pat, you guys are awesome. You guys are so smart. And yeah.
Are you gonna tell me something special, Joe?
Thank you, Joe. Tell me. Look deep in my eyes. Let's look into each other's eyes, and you can tell me.
Not
tell
here.
Me how smart I am.
Not here, Yamo says.
I'm gonna save it for later.
Hey, Yamo, are you wearing pants?
No.
I didn't think so.
See you, Herman.
I can see a tiny shadow.
Oh.
Little tiny shadow.
I'm over here trying to mess with people. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I'm like, how does this work? This is different than what I do over here. So, all right.
Okay, Mark, we forgive you, but
that's it. We're wrapping this up. I'm ending it now.